Good Monday morning, everybody. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. Got a couple of different stories for you today, but we're going to start off talking about these little guys right here. Now, if you are not an avid cruiser, haven't been on a bunch of cruises, you may not know specifically what this is, but this is a cruise duck. It is a passenger-driven activity where you bring them on board the ship. Usually they have a little tag on them, says where the duck came from, who hid the duck on board the ship. You take them, you hide them around the common areas on the ship, and then other passengers find it. You read the tag, see where it came from, and then you have a choice. You can either re-hide the duck somewhere on the ship, or you can keep it and take it home. Now, this started on Carnival Cruise Lines, and it's a pretty popular passenger activity. Lots of people participate, lots of people hunt them. Kids love to hunt the ducks on board the cruise ship. It's just a good, friendly activity, and for the most part, cruise lines, they're okay with it. They know it happens. They know they're on board their ship. Cruise lines like Carnival and Royal, hey, they kind of encourage it a little bit. But there's a cruise line out there that has now said, no more cruise duck. Because Disney Cruise Line, well, they are now discouraging, saying, hey, guests, you can no longer hide ducks in any public common areas or in your staterooms, which essentially ends cruise ducks on Disney Cruise Line. Now, that's not the cruise line I would have assumed would have been the first to say no cruise ducks, being a family-friendly cruise line full of kids, always looking for family activities to do on board. But, yep, it's Disney Cruise Line says no more cruise duck. Now, with that said, cruise ducks are not on the prohibited items list. They haven't prohibited you bringing them on board. They are simply discouraging you from hiding them around the cruise ship. So it's not a hard no, but for the most part, yep, that eliminates cruise ducks on Disney Cruise Lines. Next up, we have Norwegian Cruise Lines. Now, the Norwegian Prima, well, this past Friday had a little bit of excitement during disembarkation when one of the mooring lines snapped. Now, they were actively in disembarkation, but luckily nobody was hurt. Nobody was injured. She only snapped one of her lines up near the bow. She was quickly resecured back to the port, but it did cause a minor delay in disembarkation, and a delay, of course, kind of rolls right along and caused a delay for embarkation. Now, high winds in Galveston Friday morning caused, stress against the size ship, caused one of the mooring lines to break. What's odd, though, is this is not the first time this has happened to the Prima. And you don't often hear about a whole bunch of cruise ships, that break their mooring lines. But the Prima had broke one just this past July. Same type of situation. High winds caused one of the mooring lines to break. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem with the Prima. Doesn't even necessarily mean there's a problem with her lines. Could just be bad luck that it's happened twice to the Prima. I'm sure they're investigating at this point. Are these lines good? Is there an issue with the mooring lines? Is there an issue with the way that they come out of the ship? Anything like that, I'm sure they're double checking everything because, it's happened twice in less than a year. But everybody was able to disembark safely. Everybody got on the ship for the next sailing. A slight delay, and then the Norwegian Prima, well, she was able to continue on with her next journey. Now, in other Norwegian Cruise Lines news, right now I guess we'll still kind of call it a rumor because this has not been confirmed by Norwegian Cruise Lines, but there is a major construction company out there called NV2A that has released that it's involved in a major construction project on Norwegian's private island of Great Stirrup Cay. Now, the last upgrade to Great Stirrup Cay was in 2016, which they called Phase 2, and they're now calling this one Phase 3 construction. And according to the construction company, they're going to be doing things like adding a pier that can accommodate 2 ships, adding new pools, a lazy river, and new beach areas. Now, again, this has not yet been confirmed by Norwegian Cruise Lines. This is the construction company saying this is a project they're going to be doing at Great Stirrup Cay. But this would go along with what we're seeing from other cruise lines as well. We had MSC upgrading their private island. Royal Caribbean's been working on Coco Cay, and Carnival Cruise Lines has also announced some upgrades to Half Moon Cay. They're also talking about adding a cruise pier so that the cruise ship can dock there specifically at the island, which would be good for both Half Moon and for great stirrup key, because being how they currently are both tender ports, meaning you have to take a smaller boat, a water shuttle, a tender, whatever you call it, from the ship over to the island. You know that takes longer to get to the island. You have to wait in line in order to board the small ship back to your actual cruise ship, instead of just being able to walk up and down the pier and kind of come and go as you please. They are also known to have, cancellations or having to skip those two ports, particularly if the weather is even just a little bit rough, because if it starts to toss around those water shuttles, or they think it's going to be just a little bit too rough of a ride getting from the ship to shore, a lot of times that is the ports they will skip. And by putting in an actual dock where the ship can go in and tie off, while it won't stop that, because you can still skip a port over bad weather even with a dock, it will reduce the number of times that it happens, because you will no longer have to use water shuttles. So we're still waiting again for Norwegian to actually confirm the project, confirm the dates, exactly what's going to be done. But this is good news for private islands in the Caribbean. And honestly, look, any port I can go to where I don't have to take a cruise tender, I just like it a little bit better. It's just less of a hassle. And finally, I want to talk about Royal Caribbean's currently happening world cruise on board Serenade of the Seas. I was going through reading some cruise news stories, and I came across one that was titled, "Some Are Not Happy Over Preferential Treatment on the World Cruise." So apparently there's some people getting treated better on a world cruise than others from Royal Caribbean. Now that immediately makes me want to read the article, because I'm curious. I'm curious to know who feels like they're not getting treated the same as the other. How are they determining which passengers are getting treated better than the others? Well, I read through this article, and honestly, it kind of makes me laugh. Now, this article apparently all started with a video over on TikTok talking about this preferential treatment, and it turns out that the passengers that are receiving preferential treatment, well, they're Pinnacle members. And if you're not familiar with Royal Caribbean's loyalty levels, Pinnacle is the highest level on Royal Caribbean. So these are people that have cruised multiple times. They are at the absolute top of the loyalty level. And being a Pinnacle member on Royal Caribbean, well, it comes with some perks. It comes with some things that you are going to get that somebody who is not yet a Pinnacle member is not going to get. And I'm going to read a little bit of this to you, because I don't want to mess up the wording. I want to make sure y'all get the full effect of this here. And it says that this TikTok video alleges that Pinnacle members are given special treatment and opportunities, not available to other passengers, such as exclusive opportunities and not having to wait in line to board the ship. So they're talking about the special parties that are for Pinnacle members. They do have special loyalty events on board cruise ships. And yes, Pinnacle members are given priority boarding. They're given priority disembarkation. So far I'm missing where something's wrong, because this is normal cruising, right? A direct quote says, "They've been invited to meetings in town halls, which all the guests haven't been invited to. Things that are going on in these meetings are affecting the ship." I have no idea what that means. I don't know that there's town hall meetings on the ship. You'll have to let me know if you're on Serenade of the Seas. What town hall meetings are they talking about? There are special loyalty events. We've already said that. Yes, they do things in these loyalty events. I don't know how they affect the whole ship, but they do have their own parties. And no, not every passenger is invited. If you're not at the loyalty level that's invited to this, no, you can't go. Common cruise sense at this point. And the last part of it, it even makes me laugh more, because apparently some of these people have not been accepted into social media groups and messages and things like that are going on with some of the world cruisers. So they feel like they're being excluded from social media groups, which of course has nothing to do with Royal Caribbean whatsoever. We're talking like Facebook groups and other type of chat groups. And yeah, this type of thing it makes me laugh. It makes me chuckle, because clearly whoever made this original TikTok video has no idea how loyalty levels work on a cruise ship. Apparently they have no idea that yes, Pinnacle members are going to have private parties. Yes, Pinnacle members are going to have priority embarkation and disembarkation. It's part of cruising. It's part of the loyalty programs. It's not just Royal Caribbean. It's not just World Cruises. It's across the cruise lines. The more you cruise, the higher your loyalty level, the more perks you get. And you'd think that that would be something that you would know before you get on a world cruise, or even just a part of the world cruise, or something maybe you should know before you make a video and throw it out into the world talking about this preferential treatment that, well, based on their loyalty levels, they're supposed to get. And that's going to be our video for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. That way you too can know when people are upset because Pinnacle members are getting on and off the cruise ship before them. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day. And like always, we'll see you out on the high seas.